On my left, to your right, Barry Keane on the drums, my old friend. Barry and I have been doing this for a while together. We're old friends now, most of the time. Barry has a couple of stories that he can tell you as well.
Hi, folks. Everybody doing well? The great part about being in a band, one of the great parts, is that when you first join, you can tell everybody your stories. They can tell their stories to you, and it's great. Then a few years later, you say things like, "Have I told you this story, guys?" And then years after that, you say, "Have I told you this story, guys, lately?" Anyway, most of the time I tell stories up here, but I think I'm gonna just go over some I remembers. When you've been with Gord as long as we have, there's going to be a lot of things that happen, and there's going to be dozens and dozens of I remember moments. So, I remember when a super fan and his wife drove up the coast of California for 6 hours from their home in Malibu to see a Gordon Lightfoot concert in Stockton. And let's hear it for Stockton. Anyway, Gord had met the superfan before, and the superfan and his wife hung out with us before the show, and we were, trading stories and stuff. Great people. Gord arranged for the superfan to sit just off the stage, out in the wings. And Gord, at one point, the superfan was also a songwriter, and Gord was his absolute hero, his idol. He was so thrilled to be there. I remember after almost every song we played, the superfan gave us a standing ovation for Gord and for us. He was an unbelievable fan of Gord's and Gord's writing. So anyway, the superfan, after being inspired by Gordon, went on to write a few songs like "Help Me Make It Through the Night," "For the Good Times." Pretty good. And the moment I really remember, sitting on stage, being 10 or 12 feet from Gordon Lightfoot, which is pretty cool in itself, and being another few feet away from the superfan, just off stage. The superfan, and we were playing a song that the superfan had written that Gordon had recorded. The song was Me and Bobby McGee, and the superfan was Chris Christopherson. Back to 1976, we all went to do a comedy TV show. And again, I remember to this day, the late great John Belushi, dressed in his samurai tailor suit, cutting the strings off of Gordon's guitar. And it really was live from New York. It was Saturday Night Live. Okay, and just up the road from here, I remember playing Canada Day on Parliament Hill. And there were thousands of people there, sitting front row, dead center, was Queen Elizabeth. And, your eyes kind of wander around. I could see the Queen sitting there. And at one point, our eyes actually met. So, what's a grown boy to do? I gave her a wink. The Queen was not amused. But it's okay, it all turned out for the best. She texted me later. Anyway, that's just a few of the I remember moments from being all those years with Gordon Lightfoot.